So if you're wondering, can I originate in other areas than I live in? If you've ever wondered that, this is the episode for you. I'm talking longtime good guy, Mr. Kurt Nielsen. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, Carl. It's been a while. It's I've known you for a very long time, and
It, it
you're the reason my life changed. If you really want to know the truth,
well, I appreciate the kind words, but let me tell you something on the
I
upfront,
don't know if that's kind or not, but it sure
well,
changed my
assuming that you're
life.
not in prison today, I'm going to take it as an improvement.
No,
But let
it's
me tell you something,
definitely.
brother. A lot of people hear the message, a handful act on it. So I give you all the credit. Anyway, where you transmitting at from today?
I'm in eastern Puerto Rico in a place called Palmas del Mar, Puerto Rico.
All right, and that's where you live.
That's where I live.
All
That's
right,
right.
and I see so some people are watching this on the are listening to this on the podcast. Some are watching it on YouTube. For those that are watching it on YouTube, we
Hmm.
notice there's a little background behind you with the picture of Hawaii.
That's the
But wait a
Hawaiian
minute,
Islands. Yeah.
so you live in Puerto Rico,
All right.
but some of the loans you fund are in Hawaii.
Virtually all my business is in Hawaii. Yeah. I
Are you
lived there for 25 years. And then in 2016, I think I went to a Freedom Club meeting with you in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I might have the year wrong, but
that sounds about right.
yeah. And my life changed in Puerto Rico. And there's quite a few things that happened at that meeting, but it was a quarterly meeting. I think we used to go to different places. We go to Tampa, and then that quarter we went to San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why you chose San Juan, Puerto Rico,
It was
but
like, why not?
yeah,
Like,
why
why
not?
not? So you went there. Where were you living at before Puerto Rico?
In Hawaii, and in fact, I just moved out of my last home in Hawaii just weeks ago.
Okay,
So
okay.
been
So you
back and
were
forth. Yeah. Hmm.
so you were in Hawaii. We went to Puerto Rico. You went, hey, this is another island. I
Hmm.
think I'm going to live here for a little while. But while doing so, still writing most of your loans in Hawaii.
That's right.
All right.
Right.
So we want to kind of take a deep dive into that and talk about how do you do that. Any other states you do other than Hawaii?
We're just being licensed in Colorado and Texas and California. So we're kind of following some of our clients. There's a lot of people that buy property in Hawaii that come out of California and Colorado and Texas. So just to mainly serve our Hawaii clients a little bit better. Hmm.
All right. So you're in Puerto Rico.
Hmm.
Why Puerto Rico? Just you went there and went, hey, this is a beautiful place.
No, not at all. I mean, Hawaii's beautiful on its own, but I think in 2016 I was bumping up against a 50% tax rate. So
Yeah.
if you look at the federal income tax at 35%, the state income tax of 11%, if you're in the highest tax bracket, if you're part of mortgage marketing animals, you probably are. So, adding FUTA and SUTA and all of the other self-employment tax, I was giving away about 50% of my income. And, I was listening to everything that you've been teaching over the years. And, I've been around you for a lot of years, but, it's a way to work smarter, not harder. And if
Mhm.
I want to double my income, well, you can double your volume and hopefully have the staff where you're not doing all the work. But what about paying less tax? And when you go from 50% to 2%, like you do in Puerto Rico, it's a big deal. And we call it Act 60. It's a legal way to reduce your taxes as long as you live in Puerto Rico more than 6 months a year. And so that was an obvious for me. And your assistant was the one that taught me this. I went to lunch with her in San Juan, and she lived in San Juan. And I was trying to understand why all these people that are associated with you or mortgage loan officers are living in Puerto Rico. And then I found out there's a tax reason. And it's a beautiful place to live, and the people are amazing. I mean, the Puerto Ricans are the happiest people I've ever met. So it's you get the benefit of that too. So
So two ways, two of the many ways to put more money in your pocket, A, more loans, like you just said, or B, pay less taxes. And a lot of people don't realize that when you move to Puerto Rico, and there's certain parameters that you have to, boxes that you have to check per se. But a lot of people don't know that you pay zero federal income tax and only state tax. And state tax there, like you said, is in the single digits. So it's a massive difference. So cool. All right. So now let's talk about uh, how do you how do you keep relationships in Hawaii? I mean, it's darn near on the other side of the earth from where you are. I mean, it's close to it.
Six time zones away. So
Yeah.
think about it. I'm twice the distance between New York and LA. I'm twice that distance away from my market. So my business opens at 2:30 Eastern time, and we go until about 10 p.m. Eastern time. So my mornings are for me, so I get from the time I wake up at 7 o'clock or whatever I wake up until 2:30 is my time. And so you're sort of on vacation for half the day, and then you got to work half the day. But so how I did this, it also came out of that meeting in Puerto Rico. And I don't know if you remember leading up to that Puerto Rico meeting, you asked everybody to spend a couple of weeks writing down what you did every day on an hourly basis or something. I forget how we did it.
Yeah.
And then we wrote all that information down, and then we had to categorize it. So I spent X many hours doing applications. I called realtors. Whatever we were doing, and we got it all categorized. And then you asked us to bring that list to the meeting, and then you gave everybody 3 highlighters. And I don't know if you still do this, but it was a rude awakening for me. And you say, okay, take your green highlighter and highlight everything that made you money. And I said, well, I took a lot of applications. I was pretty busy. And you said, well, that's really not making you money. How did you get the interview to take the application? That's really what makes you the money, not taking the application. You can get anybody to do that. And I went through that list, and I couldn't highlight anything that I had done that specifically was generating more business. It was just coming in, from referrals and whatever. But so I didn't highlight anything. And then you said, okay, take your blue marker and highlight everything in blue that you're good at. And I highlighted everything. Hell, I'm good at everything. So not as good as my assistants, but I'm good at everything. So I highlighted everything. And then you asked me, and this was the real change, is what do you highlight everything you like to do? And I couldn't highlight anything. I hated every part of the business that I was doing. The thing that I really liked, and we sat down and talked a little bit, is I like structuring deals. I like getting to know people's financial goals and where they're heading and how I'm going to help them get there, maybe over 5 years or 10 years. And what can I do with mortgage products that's going to help them get there? That's what I like to do. That's the center of me. So you said, well, you got to go back and eliminate everything that doesn't have all 3 colors. It makes you money. It's things you like to do and things you're good at. You got to assign or delegate everything else. So I had to actually go delegate my entire job. And I was left with nothing to do. And so I had to fill that time. And that time is, what I like to do is working with pretty complicated clients and pretty wealthy people that are buying second homes in Hawaii and structuring their deals. So I hired I had 2 processors at the time, and they both moved to Las Vegas by happen chance because it was too expensive for them to live in Hawaii anymore. So I think half of Hawaii lives in Las Vegas now. And so I made one of my processors my assistant, and she got licensed, and she's a licensed loan officer. And she basically handles the loan file, builds it, does the income analysis, dots the I's and crosses the T's, and submits it to the lender. That's mainly what I used to do. So she does all of that. I talk to the client. I get them all warmed up and on a path on where we're going to go with them. And then basically she takes over. And then she hands the file off once it gets submitted to the lender to a processor who's also related to her, and it was a good team, and kind of a family thing. So I don't touch the loan once I've kind of set the path. And then one thing that you mentioned to me, write small checks so you can cash big checks.
Mm-hmm.
And and this isn't a small check, but I hired a dialer, or what you consider your, the person that's doing your daily success plan.
Yep.
Because I don't like making calls. I'm sorry. I don't like eating that frog, as you put it. So I'm going to
Hand
get
the frog to
somebody
somebody else.
else.
Yeah. Hand it to somebody that likes frogs.
And she is so good at it. She does the caravans. She goes to open houses. She does she drives around, drops off rate sheets. She makes the calls every day. So she's my freedom person. And it's not cheap, but she gets it done every day, and it's being done
Now,
every day.
where's she located at?
Now she is in Hawaii, and she runs our office out there. So, I set up my office right across from one of the busiest real estate shops on the island. You kind of cross a mall. So I look in their window, they look at my window, and if they need somebody, they rush their client across the hallway. They introduce her. So she's the presence, and so you can, and I think that's important. You've got to have the presence, and the local presence of somebody being the face of the company. But they know that, I'm not there, but they know they can get a hold of me. And, we have a link up. So if I need to meet a client, in my office in Hawaii, we have a big screen and a video camera, and they can link right into me, and, we can, so I think one of the more important things that I do, and it's a little bit different from everybody else, I understand, is I answer my phone. So my belief is when, you have a realtor that has a client in their car, and it's a complicated deal. Usually these are big properties, expensive properties with highly qualified buyers. They know they can call me on a Saturday and I answer the phone. And that's just the way I do business. I'd rather answer it than have it go to an AI operator or whatever. Everybody runs their business differently, but I like to be answering those calls. And so everybody knows if they need help, they've got my cell phone number. They can get me anytime. And I generate more business just because of that than anything else being done. Is the top realtors, they know that they can get a hold of me very quickly. And
we talk about the speed to lead, that when a
boy,
lead comes in, how quickly is somebody answering that? I think that's a really big deal. How do you
it's
keep
all important. It's all
yeah,
important. Yeah.
no question. Yeah, like hitting somebody hitting your voicemail is just a kiss of death. Like it's just, I don't know, it's just
Absolutely.
anyway. Hey, so when you moved to Puerto Rico from Hawaii, again,
Mhm.
6 time zones away, did you call everybody and say, hey, when I say everybody, did you call all your referral partner and say, hey, I'm getting ready to move 4,000 miles away? Or like what that initial part look like? Was it kind of just done, or did you make an
No, and
announcement?
in fact, we don't talk about it. If I'm traveling, I'm traveling. I'm a skier. I spent a lot of time in Colorado, so they know that I'm away from Hawaii a lot, and I always have been. I like to travel. The beautiful part of this business is you can do it from anywhere. I can be in Europe. I did more business in Scotland. For some reason, every time you take a vacation, that's when the phone starts ringing. But you can do this business from anywhere, and so I think my realtor partners have gotten used to the fact that I'm not a block away, but it really doesn't matter. As long as I'm answering the phone, as long as I'm taking care of their clients, and I think maybe Hawaii is a different market because most of their clients that they're are selling property to don't live there either. So we're in maybe a little bit different situation, is where they're going to be managed remotely no matter what happens because they might live in another state. So,
I don't think it's a Hawaii thing because like I always anytime I start to tell myself certain things, I have to remind myself the number one in unit lender in America today is Quicken. And to my knowledge, like literally zero people go to the Quicken office to
yeah.
get their mortgage. That Quicken, if I remember right, is at least they have a big, huge hub up in Detroit,
Mhm.
um, and Michigan. And so odds are, if you're doing business with Quicken, odds are, I think it's in the Detroit area.
Right.
Nobody cares. I think Amazon and Quicken has taught the public that where we are doesn't matter. That between Zoom,
Mhm.
there's no such thing as long distance phone calls anymore.
I
Um,
think COVID was perfect for the mortgage industry. It helped us so much because it really
mhm,
did take those people that had implemented the automation,
mhm,
all of the systems where you can operate remotely.
mhm.
We haven't seen a sheet of paper in our office in years. I mean,
Yeah,
we don't
mhm,
print anything anymore. We don't.
yeah.
The only time we see paper is when a client stops in and wants it scanned and uploaded, and they don't have a scanner. So
So does most of your new business then come from the listing agent of the deals you're doing, or where do you get new deals from? Since I mean, again,
that's
you're
a good
not.
question. That's a good question. Very good question. My CRM, while it's old, it keeps me in front of everybody, and I hit my database at least once a week. So they're getting social media, they're getting emails, they're getting little video clips from me. So I'm top of mind with my database. My database includes past clients, past prospects, people who just called in. I
Yeah.
always, very first thing we do, phone number, email. You can't talk to me without a phone number and email. And that gets them into the system. I just type it in and it's automatically marketed to forever. And then realtors. So the things that we do and stuff that we've learned from you and from others, we try to make our relationship with the realtor very important. So we use MoveTube. We give that to them.
Yeah.
And my assistant actually does all the work for them. So she does the movie trailers, she does the social media post, and so anytime they get a new listing, she just does it all. And they love that. The second thing we do is every time they get a new listing, we market it on our platform. So we have all of our social media. We just ask them, do you mind if we market your listing? And we generate leads that way. And then what we tell them is if we generate a lead, we're going to get them pre-qualified and we're going to deliver them back to you as a pre-qualified buyer. And they may not be able to qualify for your listing, but they might qualify for another one.
Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free, cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next. Yeah.
Uh, so that's the second thing we do. And then we go to our realtor database and say, listen, if you give us your contact list of the people that you're marketing to, we're going to send them a list report every month about their property. And we'll do that for free. And it'll keep you and me top of mind. So every month they're going to get a free market report about their house. And there's different services that provide that. I know Barry V provides it, and there's a couple other companies that do that for you.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, so we're trying to do a little bit more than just be the referral partner that they just hand leads to. We're trying to
Yeah.
help them, with their business. And occasionally, we generate some really good leads for them. And but at least we're trying. And
Yeah.
there's not a lot of mortgage loan officers out there trying to help them with their business.
hmm
And
How
that's
does it
that's
how does it work out so with the realtors it's easy enough it seems like. How about the borrowers? So when they're in Honolulu, I'm just making, grabbing the big city everybody's heard of. When they're in Honolulu and says, yeah, we're interested in getting a mortgage through you, what percentage of them know that you are in Puerto Rico, and what percentage of them care?
I've never mentioned it, to be honest with you. And if it comes up that they want to stop by, then I'll say, hey, listen, I'm traveling. I'm on a working vacation, but I'm traveling, or I'm not on. We always say I'm not on island at the moment.
Which is true. You're
And
not on the island in the moment. Well, you're on
not on
an
that island.
island at the moment, just not the island.
The island, yeah. So, and the truth is, because we work statewide, again, it's kind of accepted that if I'm not on Oahu, I can't have them walk into my office in Honolulu.
Yeah.
My office is on the Big Island, and so the people are accustomed, in my opinion, that they're accustomed to working by phone, working by email, working by
Yeah.
Zoom. Yeah, and then again, COVID really helped with that. Now that everybody's really used to it.
So in the bar, it really doesn't that much come up. And then with the realtor, you're just marketing to them,
Mhm.
phone calls, drip campaigns, videos, MoveTube, list
All the
report.
things that you promote,
Well,
you just got to
and
do it.
yeah,
And
I
I
hear
don't
you.
I don't do all that. I'm writing the check to make that happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Write small checks, cash big checks. Yeah, good for you, man. Well, that's outstanding. What has been, when you moved that far away in your business, what did you think was going to be hard and come to find out it was easy?
Getting my wife to accept it, to
Yeah.
be honest with you.
Is she Hawaiian by chance?
No, but
Okay, okay,
she did not like the idea of moving to Puerto Rico. And
okay.
she was, she loved her friends and,
Sure.
her life. But it's a financial decision too, that now that she's become friendly with a lot of people here, and she's got her ladies club, and we live in a place, it's unbelievable. They have two golf courses. You have a golf club, a marina, ocean club, tennis clubs. Everybody drives golf carts. There's security everywhere. I mean, you just are safe as could be. So
Yeah,
it's kind of a resort living, and
yeah.
once you get into that, so the personal part was hard. The business part was easy. That wasn't
Okay.
hard. That wasn't hard because I was used to being at ski resorts and
Kind of used to it
be
anyway.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
realtors calling me, what ski are you at now, Kurt?
yeah. Wow. Has there anything that you thought was going to be easy and come to find out it was hard?
Well, I think again, remotely managing staff, that is, I'm lucky, and I've got self-motivated people. They two are family members. They really, they've been with me, 25 years now. So
Yeah.
it's a long time. And I think it's just keeping that momentum going remotely when
Mhm.
you're not with your
How do you
staff.
do that? How do you do that? How do you keep the team fired up?
It's not easy, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. For me, it's not. I think for other people it may be, but it's just having a lot of communication going on.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
they all have access to my inbox, so they see everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And I think that keeps them involved in whether a client is questioning something that's going on with their transaction, or
Mhm.
uh, the more you involve them, I think and the more responsibility you give them, you're not looking over their shoulder with time clocks and things like that. So it's just a matter of trust,
Yeah.
and there are times when we slow down, and I don't care how much calling you're doing. And when you're in a limited market like Hawaii, when things slow down, things slow down. You
Yeah.
can't create, you just can't create deals. And if you're one third of the market, which in some of the places that I do business in, I'm one third of the market. you're not going to get much more because,
Yeah.
there are realtors that do business with certain loan officers,
Sure, sure. Mhm.
and that allegiance is not going to be broken.
It's not
And
like Dallas or Atlanta
no,
where you
right.
have this
That's right.
unlimited
Billions,
source. Yeah.
billions.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
not like that. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
when we have slow times, they're jumping in. What can we do? We got to clean this up. We got to clean that up.
Mhm.
They're motivated to be working, and you just to see that is rewarding. And they know, like, we're getting crushed right now. I mean, with rates coming down, so they know that, we all got to put our head down, and
Yeah.
it's going to be a lot of work,
You know,
right.
what I'm kind of the synopsis I'm getting here, which was my suspicion before we started this, before we hit the record button and you and I started talking, it's really no different than running a normal office. That it's,
Yeah.
I think the one thing that for me we have to be particularly careful of is just making sure we got the right team
Yeah.
that doesn't require our consistent observation to click. And frankly, if I've got that, I got the wrong team already, even if I am local. And
And that's probably my biggest weakness, to be honest with you, Carl, is that team building. I've and I don't know if our market is different than other markets in Hawaii, but we've always had a very difficult time filling spots. Of somebody that wants to work 8 hours a day,
yeah,
and and I don't know where I got this attitude, but I decided to overpay. So I'm going to pay, if somebody's paying $30 an hour, I'm going to pay 35.
yeah,
Is that
I believe,
$5 an hour going to make or break me? No. But I'll keep my team member if I find the right one. And
yeah,
and and I found a lot of the wrong ones. So,
yeah.
we've been through a few. We've been
You know,
through a
to,
few.
to, to find your princes and princesses, you
Yeah.
got to kiss a lot of frogs, and that is the truth. Yeah,
And
because on
and
my
I
my
hear about all these personality tests that you give people, and yeah, I can understand that can winnow out some people, but it's really hard when you've never met somebody to
yeah.
really understand, are they going to be with it year after year after year? And
And even if they're not, it's like, I mean, we have people come and go. I'm not going to say it's a turnstile, because most stay, but we have people go sometimes. So sometimes we help them go,
Mhm,
and sometimes they go on their own. And I
mhm,
always figured, that's just the way that it works, and it's all good. And for every person that you've helped that then go and do something else, uh, your fingerprint is on that person and their journey. And if they
mhm.
go help somebody else, well, good for them, right? Your fingerprint's on that, and you played a part in that. And now you're playing a part in somebody else's growth, and that's I don't know. To me, I've always thought that's kind of okay.
Yeah, I think another thing, Carl, and it gets back to setting your own goals and what
Hmm.
what makes you happy. I've got enough business. I'm not trying to triple my business right now. I'm in a great groove. I've got good people. I make way more money than I need. Uh, I just don't want things to change, so,
Yeah,
so, so,
yeah,
but you still have to work hard at keeping what you have. And,
yeah.
and, and you still got to make those calls. You still got to do the marketing. You still have got to work with your employees. It's actually a lot of work maintaining status quo. And I always hear these people that they want to double, triple, quadruple their business. But at some point, you get to a place where I've got enough business, I've got enough money. I want this to stay
Maintain.
where it is. I want to
Yeah, I
maintain.
get it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I could add a lot of loan officers, and I've always found that's the worst thing in the world for me. I just, you have responsibility for two or three other loan officers, and you're trying to motivate them to do the things that you're doing, and all of a sudden you're not working on your business anymore. You're working on their business.
Yeah.
And I've never
Yeah,
been able to make that work. To be honest with you.
yeah, I always thought that it always works best if they want their success as much as I want it for them.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm not hearing much difference. And I could say we're kind of the same way that so I'm a branch manager in my mortgage business company office. My personal mortgage office is up in Plymouth, Michigan, just outside of Detroit, and I live down here
Oh,
in Tampa Bay. And
sure.
then the training team is, I think, is primarily based in a building that's about 100 yards away from me. Gosh, I probably go there maybe once a week, maybe every other week, something like that. And primarily our means of communication is doing what we're doing here is we do a Zoom meeting. So anytime I'm meeting with one of my staff people, we'll just, hey, you got time for a quickie Zoom? And we happen to be 100 yards apart is irrelevant. We could be, well, in
Yeah,
Puerto Rico and in Hawaii. Like
that's right.
it's just not that hard. So I think the purpose of me doing this episode is number one, I want to reinforce exactly what you're doing, that you can live anywhere you want to and do business anywhere you want to. And if you live in an area at any point in time that becomes depressed economically, something happens, where it's depressed, like a hurricane comes through or big fires come through or whatever, and your immediate area has some challenges, which happens, right? We can pick we help our community out, of course, but as far as like getting new business, well, we can go somewhere. Or to me, the classic example is if I live in North Dakota during the wintertime, things slow down, and they do.
Oh boy.
I don't care how
Yeah,
much calling you do, they slow down. To have another vein of your business, I don't know, in Texas or Florida or
right.
Georgia.
And the truth is, you might have to travel there and establish that rapport. I go back and forth still to Hawaii and make sure that I you know show up occasionally and meet my realtors and go to
How often do
lunch
you do
with them.
that? How often do you do that?
Probably 3, 4 times a year.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So uh, it's been a while, but I think that especially if you're establishing a new market,
Yeah,
you, at least where we are, realtors do not like working with non-local businesses, and it's just the way it is. And I don't know if that's everywhere. They don't want Quicken Loans for sure. They abhor these big, mortgage machines that are on the phone that you're really not getting a real experienced loan officer that can get through a very complicated deal. And,
yeah.
so, and I would imagine a lot of markets are going to be like that you at least need to establish a little bit of a footprint with the people and yeah, I'm trying to do that in Colorado right now, but I'll be going back and forth to Colorado to establish that.
So
Um,
I I'm gonna say I don't think you need to go to Colorado to build the Colorado business. I think it can be done. I do. I think it can be done. I know I do in the different areas that I go to. I find it's just as easy. Hell, no, it's easier just to do like coffee Zooms
mhm.
or the on the marketing things that we do. I don't hell I don't think they're not the top agents are not in the office. Like that's not where they are. And frankly, they don't
Yeah,
have time to carve out an hour to spend with me for lunch because
no.
they've got a lot of stuff going on. And so I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I'll give it a try. I'll get back to you on
Yeah,
that
well,
because
yes. I think, I mean, I've seen it over and over and over again. Because again, it would be like with any new listing agent you're doing with. Um, I don't think they care. I think the thing they do care, and you hit on it, is you got to know what you're doing. And so I think
that's the most
sometimes we
important.
equate, and we're not picking on Quicken, right? They're the number one, and they got number one for a reason because they're an awesome company. Now, in saying that, they often do hire very inexperienced loan officers, right? Which we all were one at one point because they
Mhm.
pay so little that you're going to get, they're going to get the inexperience. And so I agree 100%. The realtors don't want to deal with like an inexperienced person that at least doesn't have a tag team with somebody that is experienced.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I don't know if that you got to be there. So anyway, well, Kurt, man, I appreciate you coming on here. So living in paradise and working in paradise. would you say 6 times over?
All because of you.
Well, I appreciate your kind words, but I still go back, man. It's you're the one that made it happen, and you had we might have shown you the dream, but you made the dream happen. And
And it wasn't overnight. I like to tell people, I took all of that information from San Juan meeting, and there was like four things. One is the tax, the right small checks to cash big ones.
yeah,
Get out of doing things that aren't making you money
yeah,
things that you're not good at or you don't like to do. Because if you're doing things that you like to do, boy, getting up and you'll show more energy and
mm,
enthusiasm. And the other one was, I think, stop chasing all the shiny new whistles.
oh
And
boy,
because we all oh gosh, this shiny new whistle, and you spend so many hours trying to implement the shiny new whistle. If you have to have that shiny new whistle, just write the check. But it took me 3 or 4 years to completely redesign my business, and
yeah,
it took some time,
but it's worth it. Yeah,
but
yeah.
it took a while.
Yeah, if you want to do something fast, open up a hot dog cart. That's pretty fast. Everything else, it's going to take a little bit of time. By the way, I got a buddy of mine in the Austin area that literally does a hot dog cart business. He doesn't do bad actually. It's those hot dog cart guys are it can be pretty impressive.
I have a daughter that lives in Austin. She's a financial advisor. Maybe I'll find out if she
Well,
wants to
he
open
he
a
he
hot
could
dog
probably use
place.
one because he's making pretty good money, making pretty good money, and he
Yeah,
works kind of short hours. It's primarily in the business district there during
sure.
the extended lunch period. I think he does morning coffee and lunch. So anyway. Well,
Well,
Kurt,
I tell everybody, if you want to make $1 million a year, it doesn't matter what you do.
mm,
Especially in Hawaii, if you just show up and do your job and
mm,
are dependable and consistent, I don't care if you're cleaning houses, if you're selling hot dogs, if you're consistent and you do what you say you're going to do and you do it at a decent price, you can own any little market, whatever it is, tree trimming or whatever it
mm.
is. But if you just got to make that commitment. Yeah.
You know what? That's a mic drop moment right there. That little blurb right there kind of says it all. Yeah, it's not relying on motivation, but doing it with discipline. It's
Mhm.
just the bottom
Right.
line. So, well, Kurt,
Making your calls.
I appreciate you coming on, brother. This was
All right. Thank you,
this was
Carl.
this was awesome, and I think you've shown people not that hard. So,
Uh,
all right, Kurt, I appreciate
okay.
you, brother.
Thank you, Carl. All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, great stuff. Hey, if you want to get a map out of the exact plan that Kurt followed, come to my next event. I think it would be a very, very, very good use of your time, as it was for Kurt. All the information is at mastermindretreats.com, mastermindretreats.com, and go check it out. I'd love to see you at the next one. Mastermindretreats.com. Write small checks to cash big checks. It's your turn now. I'll talk to you soon.